So this grizzly bear is a 23-year-old male. His name is Mikey. And he hasn't been out of hibernation too long, and they just tranquilized him out in his habitat. And now they're bringing him to our clinic, and they'll be taking some x-rays of him. Mikey was rescued about 4 years ago. He was one of 17 bears rescued from some concrete pits in a strip mall of all places in Helen, Georgia. Mikey, as I said, is 23 years old, so he's getting up there a little bit. Most of the bears will live 30 to 40 years in captivity, so Mikey would be kind of a little bit upper middle-aged bear. And he has a history. He came to us with lameness in his front right shoulder. We know it's osteoarthritis, and he's getting ready to be moved to another habitat to join a new bear that we rescued not too long ago. So this is a great opportunity for our medical staff, our animal care staff, to get some updated x-rays or radiographs on Mikey. And we always take these opportunities if we're moving an animal and we want to know a little bit more about what's going on, or if there's some kind of history of medical issues, to take a closer look at them. So since we're in the process of moving Mikey, and we probably would have had to tranquilize him anyway, we are going to take this opportunity now and get a closer look at that shoulder of his. He has improved greatly since he got here 4 years ago because we have him on some anti-inflammatories and medications similar to what you might give to an old dog or even older people as they get a little bit more arthritis in their joints. This isn't at all surprising, considering that he spent the first 19 years of his life living on concrete in these concrete pits. So right now, one of our veterinarians is just taking a look at him and just kind of checking him over. We have a great opportunity here, so she's just checking his ears, make sure there's nothing going on in there, which is the ears are a great place for sometimes infections to start, just because they're moist and they're dark and warm and everything. She was listening to his heart, just making sure that there's nothing going on with his heart. Just looking over the feet at this point, kind of getting a feel for the joints. And wow, you can sure see those incredible claws that grizzlies have. They mentioned that they'll go ahead and trim him while he's here and while they have the opportunity. So what our doctor is doing now is just simply feeling for how much limberness or how limber his legs and joints are, and to feel how much arthritis is starting to develop. Plus, she's also feeling for any other kind of stiffness that might be causing the limb to hang up or catch a little bit. It was his front right shoulder that has been causing problems, so she'll probably pay particular attention to that. And that's the shoulder that we'll be x-raying here shortly. So you can see Mikey still has some straw left on him, and that's because all of our dens, which are buried 5 or 6 feet in the ground and stay a comfy 60 degrees year-round, have straw and wood chips in them. So it's a nice, cozy place for bears to hibernate or to simply be in whenever they choose to do so. So we currently have about 470 large carnivores here at the Wild Animal Sanctuary. Bears, lions, tigers, wolves, mountain lions, foxes, bobcats, lynxes, all kinds of animals with sharp claws and sharp teeth. And they all come from horrible, typically, captive-born situations where people either have them as pets or try to make money off of them. So we're taking a close look here at Mikey, a 23-year-old male grizzly bear. If you're just joining us, we're at the Wild Animal Sanctuary outside of Denver, Colorado. And we've been rescuing large carnivores for about 38 years, actually a little bit over 38 years now. So they're getting ready now to position the X-ray plate that's going to receive the radiation and then produce the digital image, getting ready to put it underneath that right shoulder of his. And so what they'll do is just roll him up a little bit and then slide that wooden box underneath him. The wooden box is simply to protect the X-ray plate. And the X-ray plate will then get positioned, and then they'll bring the X-ray machine that generates the radiation, the X-rays, over it. It's a portable unit, and then they'll irradiate that plate. Right now they're also shaving his ankle down there because they will be putting an IV into him to give him fluids. And so they did roll him up, got the box underneath him, and you did see a little bit of red there. That's a little bit of blood, It's not unexpected. That's where somewhere up in that upper right shoulder area behind the neck is probably where he was tranquilized. And so the dart from the tranquilizer pierced his skin, went into the muscle, just like getting an injection of any kind, and it's been bleeding a little bit. The bleeding has stopped, but before it did, it looks like it ran down his fur, and that's how you can see it. So it's not at all unlike any person, any animal that's injected with a needle that maybe bleeds a little bit after that. So nothing to be concerned about there. Yeah, you didn't hear them talking. I had the sound turned down a little bit, but they just said they needed to readjust where he was located. So they're just fine-tuning the position of that X-ray plate underneath his right shoulder. They're adjusting the towels underneath his head so that his head's sitting correctly. And just she's showing them how she wants them to hold the legs and feet when it comes time for the X-ray. So we have a whole crew of people here, and we have wonderful employees and volunteers here at the sanctuary. We have one of our veterinarians, we have our director of animal care, we have a number of animal care keepers here. And right now they're putting on the protective clothing for the X-rays, just like you or I would if we went to the dentist's office and had to get dental X-rays. So while we're doing that, you can see Mikey's right front paw there and those incredible claws. Big, strong, powerful animals. They can dig like crazy. Just amazing, and such a pleasure to watch these bears living in their large habitats. So the Wild Animal Sanctuary specializes in large carnivores. One of the things that makes us unique is the majority of our animals live in large acreage habitats. And doctor there, she's just getting that lead apron tied up behind her. There's the X-ray machine itself. It's portable, so we can take it out into the fields. Got the lights turned off, so we can better see the aiming light there. And so what they're going to do is just position that over that plate. And then when it's in the right spot, go ahead and click the button. Activate the X-ray machine, and then they'll go over to the computer and see the digital image of it. So they're just stretching out the leg a little bit there to make sure they get a good shot. And they had to hold it a long time because you need a lot of X-rays power to go through that thick animal. So now just going over there to take a look at the image to see if it shows them what they want to see. And I just heard them say that, yeah, they're going to have to do another one with a little bit more power and perhaps a little bit longer exposure. And yes, you did hear a dog back there. Many people know the Wild Animal Sanctuary has quite a few dogs living here, and we've rescued a lot of dogs over the years, and one of them is here in the clinic for some reason. He's doing fine, but he, like most dogs, would rather not be caged up right now. So here we go. Here's Mikey again, looking good. You can see that beautiful kind of light-colored collar around his neck, and the doctor's just kind of explaining to people what she's looking for at this time, and they're bringing the X-ray unit over. So it looks like they're going to do the same thing, but they're just going to use a little bit more power this time so that they can get a little bit brighter image of Mikey's shoulder. Plus she's rolling back that left shoulder a little bit more. And you might have heard the beep there as the X-ray went off. The doctor must be satisfied. She took off the lead gloves, and she's just kind of feeling that shoulder a little bit, getting a better idea of what's going on with him. So if you're just joining us, this is Kent at the Wild Animal Sanctuary. We're X-raying the right shoulder, front right shoulder of a 23-year-old male grizzly bear. And you can see the digital image there that will be a part of his permanent record now. And so if we ever have to X-ray Mikey again, we have something to compare it to. And what they were doing is looking at the amount of arthritis in the joint there and getting a feel for that. So they're discussing some of the other things that they'll be doing while Mikey's here. One of them is they're going to actually trim those claws, just like you might a cat or a dog at the grooming studio or when they happen to be under for some kind of procedure. And she's still feeling a little bit that left shoulder. The one that's been causing him trouble since he got here, which has actually improved greatly, is his right shoulder. But just kind of feeling for the limberness. He's getting up there in years. He's 23. And just like those of us who are getting older, we get a little bit stiffer, a little bit slower, but our doctor just wants to get a good idea of what's going on with him. Of course, many of our animals show up with lots of structural and muscular problems because they spend their whole lives on concrete and they never get proper exercise. They usually don't get a good diet. So we have to deal with a lot of issues like this, unfortunately. And she's just rotating that left rear hip a little bit, getting a feel for that. And they're getting ready to, I think, roll them over. So it looks like they're kind of winding down as far as the x-rays go, and it's been a pleasure to have you folks here, so I think we're getting ready to just sign off. But once again, we always appreciate the dodo letting us live broadcast these kind of procedures or whatever we happen to have going on out here, and we appreciate all of you. So once again, check us out at wildanimalsanctuary.org. That's wildanimalsanctuary.org.
Conservatives do not like President Trump.